February 2016, Dhaka, Bangladesh. The Reuters office building stands dark except for one floor. Inside, security monitors flicker with cascading numbers, transactions moving faster than any human could authorize. $951 million. That's what the hackers are trying to steal from the Bangladesh Bank's account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Right now, this moment. In New York, it's 8:47 p.m. Fed employees stare at their screens, watching payment orders flood in from Dhaka. 35 transfer requests. Each one looks legitimate. Proper SWIFT codes, correct authentication, routing numbers that match. But something feels wrong. The sheer volume, the timing, the destinations, accounts in the Philippines and Sri Lanka that no one's ever heard of. A printer jams. That's it. That's the only thing standing between the hackers and nearly $1 billion. A printer in New York that can't keep up with the volume of fraudulent transfer orders. Fed employees notice the error messages. They start making phone calls. Dhaka is asleep. It's morning there, but it's Friday, the start of the Bangladeshi weekend. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, $81 million has already vanished. The money moves through Philippine casinos, gets converted to chips, cashed out, laundered through junket operators who specialize in making money disappear. Investigators will spend years trying to recover it. They'll fail, because the thieves aren't common criminals. They're not even technically in Bangladesh. They're not motivated by greed in any normal sense. They're sitting in Pyongyang, North Korea. They work for their government, and this isn't their first job.
Who are the hackers that breached the global banking system, stole $81 million in a single night, and disappeared into one of the world's most isolated nations? And why does a nuclear-armed dictatorship need an army of elite cyber criminals?
1990s, Pyongyang, North Korea. The Soviet Union collapses. North Korea loses its primary benefactor. Food shipments stop. Oil stops. The economy implodes. Between 1994 and 1998, somewhere between 240,000 and 3.5 million North Koreans starved to death. The exact number remains unknown because the regime won't allow investigators in. They call it the arduous march. Survivors call it hell. Kim Jong-un, the supreme leader, faces an impossible equation. His regime needs foreign currency to survive, but North Korea produces almost nothing the world wants to buy. International sanctions strangle what little trade exists. The country is trapped, isolated by choice and by force, unable to generate legitimate revenue, yet desperate for cash to fund its military, its nuclear program, and the lavish lifestyle of its ruling elite. So Kim Jong-il looks for unconventional solutions. In the mid-1990s, while most of the country starves, the regime begins recruiting teenagers, not for the military, for something else. They visit schools across North Korea, searching for students with specific talents, mathematical ability, problem-solving skills, and aptitude for logic and patterns. These children, usually between ages 10 and 12, are pulled from their families and sent to special academies. The Kumsong Middle School in Pyongyang becomes one such place. Later, the University of Automation. Students study mathematics, computer science, and foreign languages. They learn to code. They learn to think like engineers. But they also learn something else. Their skills belong to the state, always, forever. The best students, maybe the top 5%, receive another opportunity. They're sent abroad. China, mostly. Some go to India or Southeast Asia. They enroll in universities, study advanced computer science and cybersecurity, all while maintaining contact with handlers back home. When they graduate, they don't return immediately. They stay overseas, working for technology companies, learning the infrastructure of global networks, understanding how banks communicate, how data flows, where the vulnerabilities hide. This is the foundation.
The regime is building something unprecedented, a state-sponsored hacking unit that operates like a military division but functions like a criminal enterprise. They need expertise. They need infrastructure. Most importantly, they need plausible deniability. By the early 2000s, these hackers begin their work. Small operations at first, reconnaissance, testing defenses, learning. But Kim Jong-il isn't patient. He needs money now. The regime begins coordinating with established criminal networks, Chinese triads, Russian cybercriminals, anyone willing to share techniques and tools in exchange for a cut of the profits. The unit doesn't have a name yet, not officially. They operate from multiple locations, military compounds in Pyongyang, hotel rooms in China, apartments in Southeast Asia. Some work from North Korea's Reconnaissance General Bureau, the military intelligence agency. Others operate under the cover of legitimate-looking companies abroad. Then, in 2011, Kim Jong-il dies. His son, Kim Jong-un, takes power. He's younger, more ambitious, more willing to take risks, and he understands something his father was only beginning to grasp. In the 21st century, you don't need tanks to rob banks. You need keyboards. Kim Jong-un expands the program. More recruits, better training, bigger targets. The hackers, now numbering in the thousands, are given a simple mandate: generate revenue by any means necessary. Steal secrets, steal money, steal cryptocurrency, disrupt enemies, and do it all while making attribution as difficult as possible. Security researchers eventually give them a name: Lazarus Group. It's not what they call themselves, if they call themselves anything at all, but the name sticks because it fits. Like the biblical figure rising from the dead, these hackers emerge from nowhere, strike with precision, and vanish back into the shadows of the world's most secretive nation. By 2014, they're ready for something bigger, something that will announce their presence to the world, something that will prove North Korea isn't just a backwards dictatorship trapped in the past, something that will make Hollywood pay attention.
November 24, 2014, Culver City, California. Employees at Sony Pictures Entertainment arrive at work to find their computers displaying a skeleton, blood-red background, white skull, a message in broken English, hacked by #GOP, Guardians of Peace, they call themselves. It sounds almost noble. It isn't. Every computer across the entire studio network is frozen. Files are being deleted. Terabytes of data are being exfiltrated, stolen, and copied to servers overseas. Unreleased films, employee personal information, executive emails, salary data, everything. The hackers aren't just breaking in, they're burning the house down on their way out. IT staff panic. They shut down the entire network. Thousands of employees are sent home. Production stops. Phone systems die. Email goes dark. Sony Pictures, one of the largest entertainment companies in the world, is suddenly operating like it's 1985. Pen and paper, fax machines dusted off from storage. The hackers make demands. They want Sony to cancel the release of The Interview, a comedy film starring Seth Rogen and James Franco about two journalists recruited by the CIA to assassinate Kim Jong-un. It's a stupid movie, crude humor, dick jokes, but to North Korea, it's an act of war, an American corporation making entertainment out of killing their supreme leader. Sony executives think maybe it's a hoax, maybe it's disgruntled employees, maybe it's hacktivists angry about something. They hire cybersecurity firms to investigate. The firms dig into the malware, they analyze the code, they trace the attack vectors. What they find is terrifying. The attackers had been inside Sony's network for months, since at least September, maybe earlier. They'd mapped the entire infrastructure, identified where sensitive data lived, planted backdoors everywhere. This wasn't opportunistic. This was methodical, patient, military-grade reconnaissance.
The malware itself is sophisticated. It's designed to wipe hard drives completely, not just delete files, but overwrite them multiple times, making recovery impossible. It spreads laterally across networks, jumping from machine to machine, and it phones home to command and control servers, waiting for instructions. Cybersecurity researchers start connecting dots. The code shares similarities with previous attacks, a 2013 attack on South Korean banks and broadcasters, a 2012 attack on Saudi Aramco that destroyed 35,000 computers. The patterns match, the techniques overlap. Then the FBI announces it. North Korea is responsible. The evidence is circumstantial but compelling. The malware was compiled on systems configured for Korean language. The command and control servers route through infrastructure previously used by known North Korean hackers. Some of the attackers made operational security mistakes. They forgot to enable their VPNs a few times, exposing IP addresses that trace back to locations North Korean hackers are known to operate from. But there's something else, something harder to quantify. The sheer audacity, the political motivation, the willingness to completely destroy a major corporation's IT infrastructure over a comedy film. Only a nation-state would do this. Only a nation-state could do this. Sony caves. They canceled the theatrical release of the interview, though they later reversed the decision after public outcry and release it digitally. The hackers have won. They've proven that North Korea can reach across the planet and hurt American companies. They've demonstrated capabilities that make Silicon Valley nervous, and they've generated headlines, fear, uncertainty. But they haven't generated money. That's still coming, because the Sony attack wasn't really about the movie. It was a proof of concept, a demonstration, a message to the world. We are here, we are capable, and we're just getting started. Inside North Korea, the hackers are celebrated. The regime sees the international attention, the diplomatic chaos, the FBI scrambling to respond. This is power, asymmetric warfare at its finest, a small, isolated nation punching far above its weight class. Kim Jong-un wants more, not just destruction, not just headlines. He wants what he's always wanted: money. Hard currency, dollars, euros, Bitcoin, anything that can bypass sanctions and fund the regime's ambitions. So the hackers shift focus. They've proven they can infiltrate networks. They've proven they can steal data and cause chaos. Now they need to prove they can steal money. Lots of it. They start studying banks, not just any banks, the infrastructure that connects them all, the SWIFT system, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Telecommunication. It's the nervous system of global finance. Every international wire transfer moves through SWIFT, trillions of dollars flowing daily through a system that assumes every message is legitimate, every authorization is real. The hackers spend months learning how SWIFT works, how banks. September 2015, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Bangladesh Bank is not a small operation. It's the central bank of an entire nation, responsible for monetary policy, foreign exchange reserves, financial stability for 160 million people. Their account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York holds billions in foreign reserves. It's supposed to be untouchable, protected by the SWIFT network, multiple authentication systems, layers of security protocols developed over decades. The hackers begin with reconnaissance, spear phishing emails, carefully crafted messages that look legitimate, invoices, meeting requests, documents from trusted partners. Bank employees click, malware installs. The hackers are inside. They move slowly, no alarms, no rushed movements. They explore the network for months, learning the topology, identifying which computers have SWIFT access, which employees have authorization credentials. They watch how legitimate transactions flow. They study the bank's patterns, when transfers normally happen, how much, to whom. They're not just stealing credentials, they're learning to impersonate the bank itself. By early February 2016, they're ready. They've identified the perfect window, Thursday night Dhaka time. That's Thursday morning in New York, late in the business day. And the next day is Friday, the weekend in Bangladesh, where Friday and Saturday are rest days instead of Saturday and Sunday. The bank will be closed. By the time anyone notices something wrong, the money will be long gone. February 4th, 2016, 8:30 p.m. Bangladesh time. The hackers strike. They access the SWIFT system using stolen credentials from bank employees. They craft 35 payment orders, requesting transfers from Bangladesh Bank's account at the New York Fed to accounts in the Philippines and Sri Lanka. The orders look perfect. Proper formatting, correct authentication codes, legitimate-seeming beneficiaries. The total amount, $951 million. The first orders go through. The Fed's automated systems process them. $20 million, $30 million, $50 million. The money begins moving to Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation in Manila and Pan Asia Bank in Sri Lanka. The hackers have chosen these destinations carefully. The Philippines has weak anti-money laundering enforcement, and the banks they've selected have known vulnerabilities in their compliance systems. Then, the printer jams. The Fed Bank in New York uses printers to produce physical records of large transfers, standard procedure, a backup to digital systems. But the sheer volume of requests from Bangladesh Bank overwhelms the printer. Paper jams, error messages pop up. Technicians investigate. They notice something odd. Why are there so many transfer requests from Bangladesh Bank? And why now, during their Thursday afternoon, which should be the middle of the night in Dhaka? They start making phone calls. Bangladesh Bank doesn't answer. It's after midnight there. The building is closed, minimal staff. The Fed employees grow suspicious. They hold some of the transfer orders, pending clarification. But $81 million has already been sent. 5 transfers successfully completed before anyone realized something was wrong. February 5th, 2016, morning, Dhaka. Bangladesh Bank employees arrive to find their SWIFT printer has produced hundreds of pages overnight, transaction confirmations, debit notices. They start reading and the blood drains from their faces. $81 million, gone, sent to accounts in Manila they've never heard of for beneficiaries that don't exist in their records. Panic, frantic phone calls to New York. The Fed confirms, yes, the transfers were authorized using proper credentials and authentication codes. They processed as legitimate transactions. The remaining transfer orders worth $870 million have been blocked, but the initial $81 million is already in Manila. Bangladesh Bank contacts Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation in the Philippines. Stop those transactions, freeze the accounts, return the money. But it's Friday in the Philippines, then it's the weekend, then it's Monday and the Chinese New Year holiday. By the time the bank actually freezes anything, most of the money has been withdrawn. Where did it go? Casinos. The hackers funneled the money through Philippine casinos, Solaire Resort, Midas Casino, others. The money gets converted to casino chips, gambled perfunctorily, cashed out, and routed to Chinese junket operators who specialize in moving money for high rollers. These junket operators ask no questions. They operate in a legal gray zone, facilitating transactions that legitimate banks won't touch. The money laundering is brilliant. Casino transactions are notoriously difficult to trace. The Philippines has weak financial oversight. The junket operators work with networks spanning Macau, Hong Kong, and mainland China. The stolen funds get mixed with legitimate gambling money, broken into smaller amounts, moved through shell companies, and dispersed across multiple jurisdictions. Investigators eventually recover about $15 million. The remaining $66 million simply vanishes. Bangladesh Bank is humiliated. The Fed faces criticism for processing the transfers without adequate verification. SWIFT, The supposedly secure backbone of international banking has been compromised. If it happened to Bangladesh, it could happen to anyone. And the hackers? They're already gone, back across encrypted networks, through proxy servers, into the digital shadows. Some are in China, operating from hotel rooms and apartments. Some are in Pyongyang, working from military compounds. They celebrate quietly. $66 million is an enormous sum for North Korea, enough to fund weapons programs for months, pay for luxury goods for the elite, keep the regime's machinery running despite international sanctions. But the international response is furious. The FBI launches an investigation. Interpol issues red notices. Cybersecurity firms worldwide begin hunting for the hackers' digital fingerprints. They find them everywhere.
2016-2017. Cybersecurity labs worldwide. Researchers start connecting attacks that previously seemed unrelated. The Sony Pictures breach, the Bangladesh Bank Heist, attacks on South Korean infrastructure. A pattern emerges, not just in the malware code, but in the methodology, the patience, the willingness to spend months inside a target network before striking. They all trace back to the same source, Lazarus Group. Security firms, Symantec, Kaspersky, BAE Systems, FireEye, publish reports. They catalog the group's tools, techniques, and procedures. The hackers use custom malware with names like Delta Charlie, Destover, and Whiskey Alpha. They favor spear phishing for initial access. They establish persistence through backdoors. They exfiltrate data slowly to avoid detection. They cover their tracks by routing through compromised servers in multiple countries. But they're not perfect. They make mistakes. Sometimes they reuse code, leaving digital fingerprints. Sometimes they forget to scrub metadata from files. Sometimes they use the same infrastructure across multiple operations. And sometimes, critically, they operate during North Korean business hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pyongyang time, suggesting the hackers are working regular shifts like any other government employees. Because that's exactly what they are. Employees, soldiers really, working for Bureau 121 of the Reconnaissance General Bureau, North Korea's primary intelligence agency. They receive salaries, paid in foreign currency when they're stationed abroad. They have quotas, performance reviews. They're expected to generate specific amounts of revenue annually. It's not ideological for most of them. It's a job. A good job by North Korean standards, better than military service, better than working in factories or fields. If you're talented enough, if you're selected for the program, you get a chance at a life most North Koreans can't imagine, living abroad, earning real money, accessing the internet, seeing the world outside the propaganda. But you're never free. Your family stays in North Korea, hostages essentially, ensuring your loyalty. You report to handlers, you follow orders, you send money home, not to your family, to the state. And you know if you defect, if you betray the regime, your family pays the price. Labor camps, punishment, erasure. So the hackers work. They target banks across Asia, Vietnam, Ecuador, Poland. Not all the attacks succeed. Some banks detect the intrusions early, some have better security. But the hackers are persistent. They're learning, adapting, refining their techniques with each attempt. And they're expanding beyond banks. They target cryptocurrency exchanges, defense contractors, pharmaceutical companies, anyone with valuable data or money worth stealing. By 2016, Lazarus Group has become one of the most prolific hacking organizations on the planet. Then they make a decision that will change everything. March 2017. Someone in the Lazarus Group, or perhaps in the North Korean leadership, decides they need a force multiplier.
Bank heists are profitable, but labor-intensive. Each operation requires months of planning, carries high risk of detection, and yields unpredictable returns. What if instead they could create a tool that spreads automatically, infects millions of computers, and generates revenue at scale? Ransomware. It's been around for years, mostly used by low-level criminals to extort small payments from individuals and businesses. But what if ransomware could be weaponized? What if it could spread like a virus, moving from computer to computer without human intervention, encrypting files on every machine it touches, demanding payment in untraceable cryptocurrency? The hackers get to work. They need an exploit, a vulnerability in widely used software that allows them to break into systems remotely. Conveniently, such a vulnerability has recently been exposed. The NSA had discovered a flaw in Windows systems called Eternal Blue. The exploit allowed attackers to execute code remotely on any unpatched Windows machine. It was a master key to millions of computers worldwide. Then, in April 2017, a hacking group called the Shadow Brokers leaked Eternal Blue and other NSA tools online. Suddenly, the world's most powerful exploit is available to anyone, including North Korea. Lazarus Group combines Eternal Blue with ransomware. They create a worm, self-replicating malware that spreads automatically across networks. When it infects a computer, it encrypts all the files, making them inaccessible. Then it displays a message demanding $300 in Bitcoin to decrypt the files. Pay within 3 days, or the ransom doubles. Pay within 7 days, or the files are deleted forever. They call it WannaCry. It's not just ransomware, it's a weapon, and they're about to unleash it on the world.
2017 to present, the evolution continues. After WannaCry, Lazarus Group goes quiet. Not silent, just quieter. The global spotlight is too hot. Law enforcement agencies worldwide are hunting them. Cybersecurity firms track their every move. Banks have strengthened defenses. The traditional targets have hardened. So the hackers pivot. They discover something beautiful: cryptocurrency exchanges. These platforms, where people buy, sell, and store Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other digital currencies, are the perfect targets. They hold hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. Their security is often weak, prioritizing user experience over protection. Transactions are irreversible and pseudonymous. And best of all, there's no central authority to call, no government to freeze assets, no way to reverse a transfer once it's gone. The attacks begin small. In 2017, they hit South Korean exchanges: BitThumb, Ubit, CoinLink. Millions stolen. In 2018, they compromised multiple Japanese exchanges. The biggest score? $530 million from CoinCheck in Tokyo. It's the largest cryptocurrency theft in history at the time. Their techniques evolve. They create fake trading applications loaded with malware. They impersonate blockchain companies, sending job offers to exchange employees with malicious code hidden in the application files. They compromise third-party vendors who have access to exchange systems. They're patient again, spending months inside networks before stealing anything. The money laundering gets sophisticated. They use chain hopping, converting stolen Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies, then to others, then back again, moving through dozens of exchanges across multiple countries. They use mixers and tumblers, services that blend transactions together to obscure origins. They create thousands of wallets, breaking large sums into small amounts that attract less attention. They employ money mules, people who knowingly or unknowingly help move funds in exchange for a cut. By 2019, cybersecurity researchers estimate Lazarus Group has stolen over $2 billion in cryptocurrency. By 2021, it's closer to $3.5 billion. The money flows back to Pyongyang, funding missile tests, nuclear weapons development, and the lifestyles of the regime's elite. 2022.
the Ronin Bridge hack. Lazarus pulls off their masterpiece. They target Ronin Network, a blockchain bridge used by the popular game Axie Infinity. Players use Ronin to move cryptocurrency in and out of the game. The network holds hundreds of millions in digital assets. The hackers spend months preparing. They identify a senior engineer at Sky Mavis, the company that runs Ronin. They research him on LinkedIn. They craft a fake job offer from a prestigious gaming company. They send it via PDF. He opens it. Malware installs. The hackers access his computer, steal authentication keys, and use them to authorize fraudulent withdrawals from Ronin's cryptocurrency wallets. March 23, 2022, they steal $625 million in Ethereum and USDC stablecoin. It takes 6 days before anyone notices. By then, the hackers have already begun laundering the funds through their now perfected techniques. Investigators eventually traced the stolen cryptocurrency directly to addresses controlled by Lazarus Group. The FBI confirms it. The U.S. Treasury sanctions the cryptocurrency addresses, but most of the money is already gone. This single theft, $625 million, could fund North Korea's entire nuclear weapons program for years. Today, right now, Lazarus Group operates at scale. The U.S. government estimates they employ over 7,000 hackers worldwide. Some work from North Korea. Others operate from China, Russia, Southeast Asia, even Africa. Anywhere the regime can establish front companies and maintain infrastructure without attracting too much attention. They're not just hackers anymore. They're a financial engine, an asymmetric weapon, a way for one of the world's most isolated nations to bypass international sanctions, generate hundreds of millions in revenue, and fund its weapons programs, all without firing a shot. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center reports daily. New phishing campaigns targeting cryptocurrency platforms, sophisticated social engineering attacks on defense contractors, malware designed to steal credentials from financial institutions. The attacks never stop. They're continuous, persistent, evolving. And here's the thing that keeps security experts awake at night. Lazarus is getting better. Their malware is more sophisticated, their social engineering is more convincing, their money laundering is more complex. Each operation teaches them lessons, each failure makes them stronger. In 2024, cybersecurity firms report Lazarus Group has begun using AI-powered tools to create more convincing phishing emails, automate reconnaissance, and identify vulnerabilities faster than human analysts. They're experimenting with attacks on DeFi platforms, decentralized finance protocols with even weaker security than traditional exchanges. The potential targets number in the thousands. The international community responds with sanctions, indictments, cybersecurity initiatives. The U.S. Department of Justice has indicted individual Lazarus hackers by name, though they'll likely never face trial. Countries share intelligence, companies harden defenses, but it's a game of cat and mouse, and the mouse is funded by a nuclear-armed dictatorship with nothing to lose. Back to February 2016 in New York. The Fed employees staring at transfer orders flooding in from Bangladesh Bank, the printer jamming, the realization dawning that something is terribly wrong. That single moment when a hardware malfunction stopped $870 million from being stolen represents both success and failure. Success because quick thinking and a lucky break prevented catastrophic losses. Failure because it revealed how vulnerable the entire global financial system is to determined, sophisticated attackers working for a nation with no rules, no limits, and no accountability. Lazarus Group proved something terrifying. You don't need aircraft carriers or tank divisions to project power in the 21st century. You need talented programmers, patience, and the willingness to operate without moral constraints. You need a government desperate enough to turn cybercrime into national policy. The billion-dollar question isn't whether Lazarus Group will strike again. They already are. Right now, at this moment, somewhere in the world, Their malware is spreading, their phishing emails are being opened, their cryptocurrency wallets are filling. The question is, can we stop them before they steal their next billion?